And of course, you are welcome. The program is brought to you by Defend Drill Cough Expectorant. And of course, this afternoon, we've got a lot coming your way. You can join us via our social media handles on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com. My name is Elton Broby. Now, this afternoon, the Electricity Company of Ghana is expected to brief Parliament's Energy Committee on a wide array of issues affecting its operations. The recent scandal of missing containers and the power outages are expected to take center stage after the Energy Minister yesterday, Thursday, painted a dark story of the sector. Let me take you live to the Peduasi Valley Resort and speak to our parliamentary correspondent, Kwaku Asante, who joins us via Zoom. Kwaku, you're welcome. So is this, probe, if you like, underway?
Not yet, Elton. In fact, the committee has spent the last 5 hours talking first to some of the very significant players in the power sector, the Power Authority first, and then the Water River Authority. They spent close to 5 hours behind closed doors in those meeting rooms just behind me. The meetings have concluded between those two organizations. It took nearly 5 hours, like I said. It started just around 10 o'clock here with the Power Authority. Then we had Water River Authority officials also going in there. After about 5 hours, that meeting has concluded. ECG officials are expected to now go in there after lunch. Members of Parliament, together with other persons who have been involved in that meeting, are currently having lunch. So the office right to my left is currently housing officials of the Electricity Company of Ghana who are waiting so the chairman and other persons come. But as I speak, I'm just seeing chairman, and so I'll try and see if I can have a word with chairman briefly on joining. Chairman, for just a minute on joining this before we take leave of our chairman. This meeting that you are going into with the ECG, what are the key expectations?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are here to look at their work program and also tell us what their challenges and problems are. We know currently we have issues of power outages in the country. And one of the issues that we'll be discussing is how the extent to which this power outages is affecting us as a country, and what plans do they have to remedy the situation. Most of the people that we've spoken to so far, especially from the generation side and the transmission side, they do not have problems. It's rather the distribution side that has problems. So we'll be interrogating them and find out what their problems are. And then we'll be straight into the missing container issues as well.
Right. Thank you very much, Chairman. And Chairman is just getting ready to get into that meeting, which is expected to start in a minute from now. We just walk in there where the meeting is going to happen. Like I told you, the first two meetings have all been behind closed doors, but we expect that this meeting, journalists will be allowed in. That is the kind of invitation the chairman has given us, and then we'll get some briefing early on about the generation side, like we had today. That is the Power Authority, Water River Authority. They came there, responded to questions about what exactly with this they are removing to ensure that Ghana has sustainable energy and that customers do not suffer persistent power outages. And so they briefed the committee on that matter. The committee on the education has gotten pretty satisfied with some of the answers they've gotten from that. But the big elephant in the room is the Electricity Company of Ghana, and a lot of the blame has been put on their doorstep as to they be the reason why Ghana's energy sector continuously pays prices, because they are unable to simply collect the revenue, the electricity itself. They're unable to raise the revenue. And that is why yesterday, John Jinapol, the Minister for Energy, did again re-emphasize, like it should say, that they are really hell-bent on this privatization of ECG's revenue distribution side. So the fact that people go out there to collect revenue, they are unable to bring anything to ECG's coffers, they intend to privatize the side that goes out there to collect the money. John Mahama himself recently talking about enclave power that is in the free zone where he says they've been able to collect nearly 95% of the power themselves. And he believes that is what the Electricity Company of Ghana should be doing. And so that is the big meeting that the Energy Committee is going to have with ECG officials. And we expect that we'll be in there with our cameras to capture exactly what the sentiments of the ECG is. Perhaps for the first time, we'll hear from ECG as to whether or not they are in support of these new plans that have been approved by Cabinet. We already know that staff of ECG are not very happy with that idea. They say this is simply a ploy by the government to sell off the very juicy part of ECG to growing concerns to go and enjoy. That interview was done with you out there by the CEC Deputy Secretary General. And so all those concerns have been shared. And any moment from now, when the meeting starts, we'll get to know what exactly the concerns will be.
And you say that this is an open, process for everybody to hear and listen what is happening.
That is the understanding we are getting. Yesterday, media were allowed to the opening ceremony where we heard from the minister directly. After that, all the other power players who were there, media were not allowed into the meeting room. This morning, they heard from very crucial and very important players in the sector, that is first the Blue Power Authority and the Voter Review Authority. That was behind closed doors. But this one having to do with ECG, the indication we are getting from the chairman, and that's something we do directly, is that when they start, the journalists will be allowed to send in cameras and exactly capture what exactly is going on there. But there is a certain push from among ECG management, other persons, that perhaps certain details will be disclosed to the committee in the law ways that journalists will be there. Perhaps an opening ceremony of a sort where journalists will be there listening to that and then leave what they discuss, opposed to the good sensitive issues. But the chairman did give the word yesterday and today that the journalists will be allowed to go into this meeting and hear from ECG in terms of what exactly their challenges are and how they intend to turn things around to keep the lights on.
So before I let you into the room, so this meeting is at the behest of the Energy Committee of Parliament, and I heard the chairman say that they are looking at the work plan of ECG, and I'm curious to know why, because the budget has been approved. Usually work plans are approved before the estimates are approved in Parliament. In this case, 2025 budget is already in session, and now the committee want to understand the work plan of ECG.
Yeah, I suspect he may have used a wrong terminology there, because we know that prior to the 2025 budget being passed, ECG and all the other players, they go into Parliament and actually provided Parliament with their work plan, or it fed into the 2025 budget that was approved. And so for him to still use the terminology work plan, that is a bit surprising going in there. But I think the meeting is just going to happen. Just behind me, you see ECG officials who are now walking into the committee room. The committee chairman who came in there just said that they said that he will come in there, provide guidance as whether or not journalists will be allowed to get into this meeting to record the specific big issues that are concerned to everyone in the country, the recent power outages. But it would be interesting to get to know, perhaps we did use the wrong word, the budget has been passed, why are we now considering what estimates, what plans and all that. When we allow him there, perhaps we'll get some answers to some of these lingering issues that have come up since this workshop of the Energy Committee of Parliament has been happening. Yes, since yesterday, they're expected to complete tomorrow with other private sector organizations like Imani, ASEP. They're expected to also be brought before the committee to share the ideas on how to fix Ghana's energy crisis.
All right, we'll allow you go for now and then touch base with you when the meeting itself is ready, so that we can hear from ECG and the committee on what exactly the issues are regarding ECG's inability to operate at optimum level. But let me bring in Timothy Nyame from the Public Utilities Workers Union. He's the Deputy General Secretary. Mr. Nyame, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers.
Right, great to have you. So the Energy Committee is interested in knowing exactly the concerns, the challenges ECG is facing, and how best they can help ECG operate at optimum level, because bottom line, we want to see our light on 24/7. From what you said, as you know, from the Public Utilities Workers Union, we've heard the minister, talk about ECG in sometimes not very complimentary words. But from the Workers Union point of view, what really is the issue with the ECG?
Thank you very much. The main problem is the public sector, the debt of the ECG. I'm sure that's the only thing that is trending. That the ECG is not able to pay what it bills. It's not able to pay its bills as it falls due. So for parliamentary committee to engage ECG management to know the issues, it does that. Though it is late, that's a step in the right direction. So even before you go into bringing this private sector participation in the retail end, this engagement should have been done ahead. So I'm very optimistic that the issue will be laid bare with the members so that it will show that the inefficiency may not necessarily be self-inflicted, but it will be as a result of several factors. So day meeting management, they also have the first-hand information, but don't forget that we, the workers, or on behalf of the worker, have stated the position of the union when it comes to the problem of ECG and how to overcome it. And we just pray that the committee or government will listen to us and then put those measures in place that ECG be transformed. The issue of giving ECG to a private sector to operate, the most powerful entity is the government. So if government itself is not able to operate and you have to give to the private sector who doesn't have that muscle that they think it's a source of worry for the workers or for that matter, the union.
Right. So, Mr. Nyame, yes, I mean, government position on the way forward is clear on this particular matter. Government say that they will bring in the private sector to play a role in the operations of ECG. What they have agreed at cabinet, yet to perhaps put before Parliament or any other body, is to get a private concessionaire in this particular arrangement where the private sector is sold the power and he sells it, recover the revenue and pay ECG. This is the way government is going with this new drive to get ECG to operate more effectively. You have issues with it?
Yes, we have said time and again and on our position on this. And I am just very glad that the minister has actually informed us that it's a process, it's a negotiation process. So I don't think it's the final position because we also have to prove to government that these certain things are resolvable. So as you are saying, it is not the final. We have been made aware that it is not the final position, though that have been sent to the cabinet. And we want to believe that it is not exhaustive. So we are also trying to engage government and, for that matter, the committee and the minister in seeing the best way option that will be to the benefit of Ghanaians and also the customers. Because we have outlined several issues to the attention of the minister, for that matter, the committee, that I think that they should see to its resolution. Then we can move forward from that. That just to instantly say that, because of this and that, you are coming to operate at the retail end. And as you may be aware, we have raised concern about the pricing of the IPPs at the top. And don't forget, the private sector dominate at the bulk power area. Then you come to the retail end and also come and operate at the private sector. Then don't forget the sovereignty of the nation. I mean, leaving the power, electricity or energy in the hands of private sector in the middle. Though where we buy bulk power, then you have operators in the retail end to come and also collect the money. It's something that we have seen before. So this thing is not something that we are actually allowing it to happen. We have to engage government to let them understand the reason why. They should put measures in place that will lure to effective revenue mobilization at the retail end and also negotiate the IPP pricing. We have raised our concern time and again about the pricing of the IPPs.
What is wrong with it?
Know that.
What is wrong with the pricing model of the IPPs?
Yes, comparatively of IPP pricing, IPP comparative with other African countries, the price is not competitive enough. One. Number two, there are certain conditions and clauses that initially were embedded in the purchase agreement, which over time need to be reviewed. And number three, the indexing of the price in the dollars. If not of recent that the dollar has moved down from 17 to 12 point something.
Right.
You can see that the exchange fluctuation that bedevil the company, that you have to go and collect CDs and come and convert them into dollars and then give it to the IPPs.
Right.
There are other conditions like take or pay that will produce 100 megawatts, whether ECG likes or not, you must pay for the 100 megawatts rather than billing them on the, let's say, 70 megawatts used. So these are some of the conditions, and they should actually look at how to do the pricing. But the condition that brought initial negotiation, It's now different. So I think that it is time for us, for the industry players to look at the renegotiating with this entity, that we can get all competitive pricing. Then after the retail end operations, we have also outlined those issues that they should have. Of course, they have appointed the managing director, and just recently they have set up the board that the managing director and the board should be able to show the direction. So for that's why I'm very happy that the Parliamentary Select Committee is meeting.
Yeah, it's meeting on this matter.
Has been set up.
But the bottom line really is that, I mean, even in an environment where there's an agreement as to how much you are to collect and how much you are to pay to every player in the cash waterfall mechanism, ECG is unable to live up to expectation. Who are you going to blame in these circumstances?
Oh, my brother, what you are able to collect is what you are paying. And we are saying that when you give high pricing, when you price the power high, and you go and collect CDs, after collecting the CD, you come and convert it to dollars. How much will you get? So that's a major problem. That's why we are saying that at the bulk purchase area, they should look at the pricing. They should make it competitive. You see, so that at least the pricing there will be okay. So that we have the value for money there, and also not make it into not denominate it into dollars. See, and also they shouldn't say that no matter the quantity or the volume of energy that is produced, ECG should pay for it, whether you use it or not. Those conditions are no more relevant. And I think that the industry players themselves, the IPP themselves, also should understand. And for me, I'm very happy that those clauses they are reviewable. There are clauses that can be reviewable, and the time has come for us to renegotiate these clauses and make sure that they are reviewed. They are reviewed.
So, Mr. Nyame, the other matter that I just want to pick your mind on before, if you can cross over to the committee meeting to understand what really is going on, is the fact that government's position is that let us allow somebody to play a role, because clearly the retail sector is the part that is suffering. Currently, the recovery hovers around 64% of power sold. So there are so many issues that is bedeviling ECG's operation. But on the other side is the admission by the Energy Minister that state enterprises, state ministries, agencies, some of them are not even paying. And that is one of the areas that there's so much debt. What would be your proposal in addressing government-owned obligation to ECG that it is not meeting?
So it is a big relief when I heard Honorable Minister mention that the state institutions should pay. Otherwise, we should disconnect them. And he has given us the go-ahead to do so. That any institution, that state institution that is not does not pay should be disconnected. I'm sure that's the way to go, so that those institutions should put in their budget the pricing of power. That as every month they should be able to pay for the power. It's a very big relief, because it is part of the indebtedness that the ECG is bedeviled with. So at the retail end, also, my brother, at the retail end, there are a lot of bottlenecks that we are also lined up to government. So when the meters that are being fixed at the consumer prices, ECG is not aware, and you have to configure these meters so that you can be able to read and bill. You know, we have shared meters that have been fixed in the communities. Right. And you go to check, they are not in the ECG system. So we are giving government, we are discussing with the community, we are told them what they should do. That these meters, though they are from government, they should be channeled through ECG so that they can be able to configure and give it to customers, so that we can be able to read the meters and bill. Some of the places they are 40 meters. Provision should be made, or provision should be given to them. Provision should be made for reinstallation of those meters. So these are some of the problems that are there, and they are solvable. You see, and look, when you have the managing director appointed by His Excellency, giving a clear roadmap, one of the directors appointed by His Excellency, that you can be able, the people should be given the mandate to actually direct the affairs of the organization. Once the government give them that freedom, you can be able to operate. And you don't need a private hand. Government wields so much power that you can't say that you have a managing director and the government give you free hand, you are not able to deliver. The person doesn't need to stay there if he cannot deliver. That's all that we are demanding. Thank God we are in this discussion, and we think that we look at it that local government should be able to actually listen to us.
All right.
For instance, they have appointed the managing director who has shown a clear roadmap. He has quickly engaged the district managers and giving them targets, performance of which they will be rewarded, the default of which they'll be sanctioned. And I'm sure when the board sits and they also start monitoring that activity. So from the top there, everything should fall in line. So you don't need anybody to come and operate there. You understand?
Right, I do.
All this should be well monitored.
Let's leave it here for now. Mr. Timothy Nyame is Deputy General Secretary of POO, and POO is the Power Sector Workers Union. Now let's stay a little longer on energy, as prices of petroleum products are set to experience the biggest drop, if you like, at the pumps today. Now this according to the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies pricing outlook for the second pricing window of May 2025. Now according to the projection, petrol prices are expected to decline by between 6.7% and 8% per litre. And this is what we are expecting to experience at the pumps by the close of work today. So, and you see, the prices at the pumps is determined by two main issues, if you like. The exchange and then crude on the world markets. And as we've seen, the dollar is now around 12.4 to the city. And that's quite significant. Also on the world market, crude is not doing so well. So the expected decline, according to the chamber, should be between 6.7% and 8.8%. And that will also depend on where you buy your petrol or diesel from. But this is the expectation for today. By close of work today, we should see some significant drop in petroleum prices at the pump. So for price adjustments, the reason I cited early on, the cedi depreciation, the cedi is doing so well against the US dollar, the British pound sterling, and the euro, and also drop in crude oil prices and prices of finished petroleum products on the world market. These are the two factors, and the windfall is what we expect to see by the end of the working day of today, Friday, May 16, 2025. Right, so the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa, has been criticizing oil marketing companies for failing to fully pass on recent cedi gains to consumers.
I would wish that our bus does not go off. The good news is that as I speak with you, some of the OMCs have indeed gone down already. So if the GPRTU is waiting for reduction further, I can confirm that some OMCs have already reduced by as much as 32 pesos per litre already. And so at this point, whilst I be one of their major defenders, I find it unsustainable to still defend that they will not consider reducing transport fares. So they would need to go down on transport fares per the number we have. We had petrol selling from about 15.4 around 15.7 to now selling just a little above 30 Ghana. I think that the drop in these numbers cannot be wished away. It is difficult. They can go down as much as 20% on food fares. I'm bearing in mind.
Did you say 15 to 20%?
The GPR, the QTA members had issued some advisory to reduce the cost even per part. And so it will quite unsustainable for transport operators to still hide behind the cost of parts and other operational logistics to say they can't reduce transport fares. Right. That must go down and must go down immediately.
Well, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Abbas Moro, has also been speaking on the matter and whether or not transport fares will go down. Listen to him.
We are waiting for the reduction and we see the way forward. It hasn't been reduced. So we have very little to see. We are really waiting till the current reduction takes place. So this is all that we can say for now.
Well, Mr. Morrow, countless times I may have engaged you, if not in studio, on phone. There are days that we see some reductions, and your counter-argument will be that fuel is not the only reason, or it's not the only factor or the variable that you use in your pricing. Are you in any way assuring us that if eventually it goes down as of today or subsequently, would at least see some decrease?
I'll be wrong to say until the leadership has met and take final decision. You are aware, as I said, that yes, fuel is not the only component we use in running transport. Alongside those that will buy the other components from also came up and said, yeah, if they could also reduce some of the spare parts so that we all move forward happily. As the last time we had discussion, I told you it is only fuel which has received a little reduction, but other components that we use, even permits which were even tagged upwards, has never even been reduced, nothing.
I see.
So where the current fuel reduction comes, our leadership
will pick up the conversation from there.
Then we'll come up with the final decision.
Right, so let's still ask the questions regarding this, because the final consumer needs answers to some of these things. So is he going to pay the same price beginning tomorrow morning? Let me bring in the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Emmanuel Ohineyabwa, who is joining me on the phone. Mr. Yabwa, I mean, by close of work today, the OMCs would have done justice to the prices that fuel is being sold to us, and we hope to see a significant drop between 6 and 8%. Is it safe to say that you are likely to follow suit?
Yeah, thank you very much, Elton. Yes, like we spoke with me the last time.
Right.
I indicated that the fuel, as you know already, is not the only component that comes under consideration. So we expect that it will drop further and maybe be assured of, consistent stay at where it is now. And until we are able to get some form of assurance that the gains is going to be stabilized for at least minimum about 90 days, we will not be able to stick much to the reduction, because if you also remember, since the whole of last year, there wasn't any increment by the leadership.
Right.
There wasn't any increment in transport fare. So, and we have been operating with this high cost of spare parts and other lubricants all this while. So I said that maybe you will fair to us also to at least get the necessary, time to consider how we can work around this thing. In fact, we are in the process of, today is Friday, and today is that some of the OMCs are coming down with their prices.
Right.
So we'll look at and we cannot speak to the minister today. So maybe from Monday go, you will have to look for an opportunity to meet the sector minister and start some form of discussion and see whether we can reduce it or not.
So you are saying,
all said and done, I think we should get some assurance from the government that the stability we see is not going to be a 9-day wonder. Because if we do that, it will be very disastrous for us to go back, and in the next week or two, we'll have to come back again. And that's not what we want to operate. I want to operate. So
if I got you right, you are hoping to have a meeting with the sector minister before you can announce any reduction.
That has been the procedure. Whether we increase or reduce, whatever we do, we have to meet the sector minister to have a discussion, bring our case to the table. Because for now, I think the demand is coming from the government sector. So we should be able to meet him and let's see how we can justify or otherwise the increase or the reduction as it were. So we are looking forward to see him. Once we meet him and we put our cards on the table, and it's clearly justified that we have to reduce. Why not? We'll reduce it.
Today's reduction will be the fifth in the windows that saw a reduction. And the conversation around a reduction for fares is now coming up. I mean, you've taken advantage of the windfall in the last 4 windows.
Alton, I will not be able to speak directly to the numbers you are turning out now, so I'm not in the office. But what I can say is that if my memory serves me right, the threshold that requires for reduction and increase in transport fares, I don't think the reduction we have over the period has been able to hit that threshold. And until we get to that threshold, we don't see how we can go and do a reduction. Because if, for instance, if you have a fuel reduction threshold of about 10%, the other component that has not been considered all year round, and we'll have to bring that one too on board. So before you say, Jack, all the gains that would have supposed to have made from the fuel would have been whittled away by the other components. So let's take time and do a proper calculation so that we know exactly what we are going to do.
And then after that, the next stage will be enforcement, especially when we know that some drivers do not belong to any union. They operate on their own and on their own terms. And then, the issue of getting them to comply becomes a murky matter.
It becomes an issue, yes. I agree with you. And that is a problem we've always had with the city authorities. You see, enforcement, the usage of public terminals has been a problem for most of the driver unions. Because most of them don't get access to the terminals, so they operate on the roadside. So it becomes difficult for anybody to control them. For instance, if you start from your house and you are loading to somewhere or do whatever, why would any officer at the terminal be able to make sure that we are comply with the set rules? So I think it's something that the assembly will have to look at it. And once we're able to get a controlled terminal, it will be easy to enforce some of this. And
finally, before I let you go, we were also getting information that some of your members intend to embark on a sit-down strike because of some other concerns. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes. You see, it's an issue that has to do with the pedestrians on our streets. Hawkers on our streets. You see, when you are driving towards the Accra Central, Accra Business District, right after Paris School, you see people actually setting up their wares in the middle of the road. The driver will not get a place to park, to offload, or maybe take passengers. Whenever he stops there, just in the road, the policeman arrests him for wrongful parking or wrongful whatever. So it has become an issue that we're calling on the city authorities to try and address that issue because it's affecting our operations. And this has also been contributed in the kind of exorbitant price charges that some of our drivers are found out to be charging when it gets to the peak hours.
Right.
Because they are unable to get to town because of the traffic situation. They just pass somewhere. And because passengers rush for their service, they decide to do anything anyhow. And that also creates another problem. So if they are able to get the hawkers from the street and we get a number of vehicles turning around in the city center, I don't think the passenger demand for the vehicle will be that high. That will require any driver to sort of increase his or try.
But I'm guessing that you've heard the AMA say that they are decongesting the city beginning Monday. Doesn't that give you assurance that something has been done? And for that reason, you're trying to embark on the strike.
We had a meeting with them, I think, last Wednesday. And this is one of the concerns. So I'm happy they have reacted to it. Let's hope they are able to commit to do it effectively.
All right.
Because if they are unable to do it, then of course, they are starting on Monday. We'll also give a deadline of Monday. But if we see that there are signs of they trying to enforce it, maybe why not? We can back down our threat and maybe see how it goes before we do that. We don't take the next line of action. Zaiba,
thank you so much for your time this afternoon on this matter. But we are not done with this matter. So what is happening on the ground? Are we already witnessing reduction in petroleum products? Let me bring in my colleague Collins Yabua, who joins me via phone. So Collins, you've been out and about. What can you report?
Elton, so this afternoon you've been moving around checking on some of the major oil marketing companies, as well as some of the smaller ones, as we all know. And we've been to Shell fuel station, we've been to Total filling station, we've been to Gulf filling station this afternoon, as well as Ally filling station. And what we can confirm is that Total and Shell, as well as Glory Oil this afternoon, based on the directive that came out that we are expecting about 8% fuel reduction. That's not the case. And based on an unofficial engagement with some of the supervisors, they are telling us that they have not received any directives from their headquarters that they should reduce fuel prices. But even if there will be any reduction, we should expect that on Monday. But at Allied fuel stations, even though they are not set, they've not reduced their prices based on the directive that came, seeing that they are selling below 13 today. But the information that we picked on ground, based on unofficial conversations, indicate that Allied Oil is expected to reduce their fuel prices tomorrow morning. For Go, which is a state-owned company, they have reduced their fuel prices as they advertise.
Well, Colin's voice is drowning. I don't know what is happening. But according to him, not all the stations, I mean, the reflection has yet to take place. So we are keeping an eye on this matter. We're also keeping an eye on that meeting between the Electricity Company of Ghana Management and the Committee on Energy, Parliament Select Committee on Energy. They want to understand the work plan of ECG. They want to understand the challenges ECG is facing. They also want to understand what ECG is doing to address the challenges that is confronting the Electricity Company of Ghana. So when they are ready, we'll take you live to the Peduase Valley Resort where that meeting is taking place. But away from that, a matter that is of concern to motorists, and indeed the entire country, especially the two biggest cities, Accra, Kumasi, and sometimes Tamale in the northern region. Now, this morning we woke up to this news. 2,241 West African foreign nationals engaged in street begging. They've been arrested by the Ghana Immigration Service, and it begins a major crackdown on illegal entry and street begging. Now, this was revealed by the head of public relations at the Ghana Immigration Service, Michael Abokota. We will bring you details of that news conference shortly. But first, here is my colleague, Maswal Aklobotu, interacting with some of those arrested this morning.
Chebilamte interchange, where the Ghana Immigration Service has conveyed quite some number of immigrants in the country. According to them, they said they are trying to remove the beggars from the street. And then if you can see, the Ghana Immigration Service bus is behind me right now, taking them to the headquarters. According to the immigrants, they are around just to search for food to eat.
Finding food has become a problem for us. Our husbands and relatives have been killed, and we can no longer stay in our country. We are here only to find something to eat, nothing more.
We also have some Ghanaians that are expressing appreciation to the government and the Ghana Immigration Service for the exercise.
And spend the entire day begging for money. They refuse to do any work for themselves. Even our Ghanaian mothers sell water to earn a living. If we're willing to sell water or do any kind of work, we wouldn't have a problem with them. We are truly grateful to the government and the Immigration Service for their efforts.
Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Aklobotu.
So usually you will see them around the traffic intersections in some of the busy areas, airports. I mean, they are everywhere, begging for alms. And you have very young, you have children, and their handlers will be relaxing under a tree, watching them do their work. Now, shortly after the operation, the head of public relations at the Ghana Immigration Service, ACI Michael Amakata, revealed that their service had rounded up over 2,000 West African nationals. Let me give you a breakdown of the numbers as captured in a statement released by the Ghana Immigration Service, and they say that they undertook this intelligence-led operation in the early hours of Friday, 16th May 2025, to rid the streets of Accra of foreign nationals involved in street begging. The operation, according to them, seeks to repatriate undocumented foreign nationals humanely and disrupt criminal network that facilitate their operations in places such as Sabun Zongo, Nima, Bosokain, and Obechebi roundabout, among others. So far, those they've arrested, 2,241, that's the number they have arrested. And the breakdown includes 909 adults and 1,000 332 children, over 1,300 children, 909 of them adults. So the adults obviously are their handlers. And so what is happening is that they are currently being taken through the necessary processes, including security and medical screening at the headquarters of the Ghana Immigration Service. And then they are showing stakeholders and the general public that the detainees will be handled with the highest professionalism with respect for human rights. I don't know if we can bring in the head of public relations at the Ghana Immigration Service telling us why this exercise took place. But an international relations expert, Dr. Boni Yao Gebe, joins me on the line. Dr. Gebe, I mean, Ghana is in a unique position. The Niger, we are told most of these people, they come from Niger. Niger, after the coup d'etat, decided that they will no longer want to be part of ECOWAS, that they sit in a broader enclave of West Africa. The exercise that the Immigration Service undertook today, as far as international relations is concerned, and more especially when our president is trying to get Niger, together with Burkina Faso and Mali, to come back to ECOWAS, is this the right step to have been taken?
Okay, thank you very much. The question is very relevant. Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, since the foundation of the ECOWAS, have been members. Until recent developments, specifically the coup d'etat events, then they decided to break away from the ECOWAS and subsequently establish their own association, the Association of Sahel States. So that is it. But the point is this: the fact that they have established the Association of Sahel States doesn't therefore mean that they cannot be still be members of ECOWAS. They can always come back to be members of ECOWAS. The example of Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia is there. They are members of the Manu River Union, but still they are also members of the ECOWAS. So anytime they make up their mind to come back, and as our president has been doing all this while, President Mahama has been doing all this while, if he is able to convince them and the ECOWAS is willing and ready to reaccept them, they can always join. That's not a problem.
So, the steps that we are taking, and you heard one of the ladies we spoke to at Circle say that, the husband was killed in some conflict in the area. She only came to Ghana to seek protection and to find means of livelihood. Now, we've arrested all of these people, over 2,000 of them. They are screening them without any recourse to due process to say that let a competent court of jurisdiction pronounce on their repatriation. And I'm sure that in the next few days, they will be put on a bus and taken to their home country.
The issue is this. I don't think that the Immigration Service, or for that matter, the government of Ghana, will be acting disregard the existing ECOWAS protocol. Much more to try all the people or just repatriate them. They have their individual cases. Those who probably immigrated into Ghana and want to stay in this country, first of all, there are rules and regulations. You have to enter the country on the basis of 3 months. 3 months, is allowed by the ECOWAS to establish in any ECOWAS member country. That's one. Two, most of these people have infants. They have children, okay? And I believe some of them are also arrested. And three, the kind of thing they are doing, it was explained to us this morning that most of the time they loiter around. They beg for money. They beg for sustenance. And so if they have been arrested, I think they have their individual cases which must be looked at. So I think it is too early to start drawing conclusions that all of them are being repatriated back to Niger. So I think we need to hasten slowly. We need to do the appropriate thing, allow the Immigration Service to do its work, allow the courts to do their work. And of course, there should be some level of interaction between the government of Ghana and the government of Niger. And then finally, I don't know whether all of them are from Niger. What about other West African countries, like Burkina Faso, like Mali? Okay, so let's hasten slowly.
Okay, so you don't expect, blowback in terms of our international relation with Niger, for example?
I didn't get you well.
I'm asking whether you do not expect any kind of retaliatory response from Niger, for example, because I'm certain that there may be Ghanaians there.
No, we are not talking about retaliation yet. I said that immigration service is doing its work. A number of people have been arrested, and you were mentioning about over 2,000.
Right.
So what is the immigration service going to do? If the issue is that all of these people will be repatriated, that's another thing altogether. But I'm saying that one of the things that immigration service or the government of Ghana can do is to interact with the government of Niger. And of course, we also need to know which other countries, citizens are we dealing with? What kind of things do they come here to do? Are they on valid document? Okay, so all these things must be scrutinized before any repatriation will take place. And then what kind of relations exist between Niger and Ghana, apart from the fact that they are all members of the ECOWAS or formerly of the ECOWAS? And what about the current, relations that is existing between the three nations forming the AST and the rest of ECOWAS? So there is a whole lot of things that must be cleared, that must be clarified before we take any decision or embark on any drastic action.
All right, Mr. Gabe, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Let me also bring in the Executive Director of the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism, Mutaru Bomoni Mukhtar. Mr. Mukhtar, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. These are, for some people, harmless children and their handlers trying to make a living on our streets. And we've taken this hard decision to rid them off our streets. Sometimes I wonder whether there could be security implications here and there that we may not be aware of.
Well, yes, what we're seeing is a reality of a potential security threat in our system. And for a long time, there have been many concerns regarding, their presence on our streets. What we're seeing is a spillover of the threat in the Sahel, especially in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. And we needed to act long ago in terms of outlining measures to deal with the spillover, the effects of, what is happening in the Sahel. But of course, now it's a good time to do this. We would need to be more.
I think connection issues to Mr. Mukhtar. Let's see if we can get him back on this on this particular matter. Mr. Mukhtar, can you hear me? Well, I think internet issues. We'll try and see if we can get him back there. But the Ghana Immigration Service, they've been providing clarity on this matter. Yeah, Mr. Mukhtar, we lost you briefly. If you can continue for me.
Yes. So the point I was making was that what we are seeing is a spillover of the threat in the Sahel, in the sense that, we're seeing huge numbers of individuals who are trooping to this place in the aftermath of the escalation of the threat in the Sahel. What we needed to do was to ensure that we put enough in place measures earlier to ensure that we clearly map out an appropriate way to deal with the spillover effects here in our country. And in the last couple of years, we've seen the numbers increase. And so there's a necessity to outline measures to deal with it. We would have to be more careful and more deliberate to ensure that the measures that we put in place does not lead to counterproductive outcomes. We have to ensure that it does not lead to retaliatory measures that could undermine our security. And I think that so far what I'm seeing is the promise of ensuring humane and professional treatment of these individuals. In the first place, refugees are entitled to asylum, and they need to apply to the Ghana Refugee Board. When they are qualified, they are granted refugee status and registered with the Ghana Refugee Board. Thereafter, they are allowed and permitted to even seek jobs, they seek employment, and for integration into the Ghanaian society. So all individuals who are genuinely here on the basis of the situation in the Sahel as refugees are entitled to these services. We are getting some information that not all of these individuals are here genuinely as a result of the insecurity in the Sahel. Some of them have been trafficked here, and I use the word traffic, more carefully. Some of them are involved in some kind of begging networks where individuals get involved, get their parents to bring them, get their parents' consent. They bring them here, they put a bond on each of them, and they work for this network here. Once they pay off the bond, then they are free to pay the monies or get the proceeds of begging to their parents and their handlers. These things must be investigated thoroughly to ensure that those involved are severely, punished for that, because those are the things that can ensure deterrence against their coming here. What we are doing now, if we do not complement it with other deterrent measures, especially for those networks, we would have them back here very soon, because this is not the first time we are repatriating refugees or beggars on the streets.
Of course. I mean, right in front of me is a story that was done in 2022 in June, and same script, different cast. The Ghanaian government has repatriated 1,320 Nigerians who beg in the streets to their home country. And this is a statement that came from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. They were put on an airplane and taken back to their country. Just 3 years, almost 3 years down the line, we are doing a similar exercise. So, I mean, clearly, are we even getting anywhere near resolving this particular matter when after just 2 years, we are repatriating the same number we did 2 years ago?
I think that what we need to do is, for every crime or every situation, there should be a corresponding measure or in terms of compliance. So, for instance, if people find themselves here that are genuinely in need of shelter or support, what are the legitimate measures they can take or steps they can take to ensure they actually access available support for themselves here? We have the Ghana Refugee Board that is in charge of refugee situations in this country. And as we speak, my information indicates that we have over 25,000 refugees that are here, that are recognized and registered by the Ghana Refugee Board. All those individuals we're seeing on urban centers in Kumasi, Tamale, Accra, and other places. Many of those individuals have not sought the services of Ghana Refugee Board. They need to be encouraged, even genuinely, that they are here because they are, they've been displaced by the threats in the Sahel. They can follow this due process to secure that. And in the estimation of the Ghana Refugee Board, they would admit them, they would register them or otherwise. And because I think that if we do not map out clearly what are the legitimate means to ensure that people seek support if they are here, what we're doing may not be sustainable, because we might find them back here in less than 6 months.
So why don't we go after the campaigns, those who are benefiting from the work that they do, those who've put, who have contracted them to be doing this work?
Yes, that's the point I made earlier. Those begging networks that have been set up and exploiting these children must be apprehended. There's some, kind of study ongoing on, there's some study in that area where individuals here, some of them Ghanaians or who have been familiar with the environment here, go to the Sahel, convince the parents to bring them here. And you will notice clearly, whenever you go to, traffic checkpoint, you pay attention. Many of the children you find, they often would identify with an adult who may not necessarily be the real parent of these children. And you can tell if you observe carefully. Those are possible situations of these begging syndicates that are part of the problem here. We need to be able to investigate thoroughly and ensure that we apprehend these individuals, giving them severe punishment to ensure that there is enough deterrence to prevent this from going further than it really is at the moment.
All right, let's leave it here for now. Thank you so much. Mutaru Momoni Mukhtar is with the West Africa Center for Counter Extremism. We're hoping to bring you the explanation about the Ghana immigration. It doesn't appear that we have that video as of now. We'll have it for you in subsequent bulletins, but they've been explaining why they undertook this exercise, what they are doing to ensure that they don't come back, and what they are doing to go after those who are benefiting from the begging that these children have been subjected to on the streets of Accra. When we have them, we'll bring them down. We'll take a short break here on the pause, brought to you by Defend Drill Cough Expectorant. And of course, when we return, we'll have more on the show. Stay put. Of course, we're also live on our social media platforms. And remember, the pause is brought to you by Defend Drill Cough Expectorant. It clears chest congestion, smooths cough, and fights the common cold, helping you breathe easy and feel better. Defendriol is available at all pharmacies and OTCs across Ghana. Not recommended though for children under 6 years. If you are interested in bulk purchase, visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals on the Spinters Road. They are next to the Royal House Chapel, or better so give them a call this afternoon, 053-666-1432. That's 053-666-1432. Defendriol, breathe easy, feel better. Don't go into the weekend with cough. Defendriol is your _1 choice. Now let's turn to the health sector. Well, the Ghana Health Service has confirmed 2 cases of Mpox in the Accra metropolitan area of Ghana. Now, health authorities say they are taking swift and decisive action to implement all necessary public health measures to contain the virus. And there's a statement that came from the Ghana Health Service. Well, the Director of Infectious Disease Center at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Oliver Comet, has been speaking on the outbreak.
So once you have 1 case of Mpox, we say that there is an outbreak. So then yesterday, the National Public Health Emergency Committee met, and the regions have also been activated. All teaching hospitals have activated their centers. So it's not just one place. Across the country.
How infectious is this disease?
It's contagious in the sense that if you come into contact with the infected person's pox material or bedding, so you must have close contact with the person, with an infected person, before you will have Mpox.
Well, it's Friday, so let's do more health and public safety, because nearly 2 months after the Food and Drugs Authority ordered a recall over safety concerns, the banned Grand Chelos Sangria Fort is still being sold. Now, Joy News shares with you, past bars and even provision shops continue to stock the unregistered drink. Mama V. Sefako Te report is read to you.
Despite a recall and safety warning from the Food and Drugs Authority, Grand Chote Sangria Fort remains widely available in shops and pubs across Accra. The FDA had ordered a market withdrawal in March, citing violation of the Public Health Act due to lack of registration. The product's packaging, resembling children's juice boxes, poses a risk of accidental alcohol consumption, particularly among children. However, sellers say the shortage of top beer brands has driven demand for sangria as an alternative.
Beer a ton crates 135. You are not buying it 210, 200 cedis. That's the large one, and then the mini one is 300 cedis. So how much are we going to sell it? And no more so they are complaining. And when you are buying it, I think we don't have problem. They are attaching stuff to it. If you don't buy this, you won't get this. And it's a management difficult. MIA. And now they $4 some day. But a ban side we are not getting it for insano price to come down for us to get my customers in Sangria and Crofoto. They buy it. They buy it a lot. That one, and then the coffee rum, it moves.
Me toy because I think whereby much more. If I say much na me coffee no ma na May ya $30 so. Are you expecting me to sell it March May price? Any juma March na me kotoy no. Sa price na wo say me to say the be am so me sika anyday.
The FDA promised a stricter enforcement in its recall statement, but the continued presence of sangria on the market points to a worrying gap in the compliance and regulatory oversight.
The FDA's promise of stricter enforcement has yet to be seen, highlighting concerns over regulatory compliance.
And we're hoping to get the FDA to respond to this development, but they are unavailable as of now. Now, amid the growing burden of non-communicable diseases in Ghana, Send Ghana is drawing attention to the role of unhealthy diets in fueling this public health crisis. And according to the World Health Organization, NCDs account for 43% of all deaths in the country. In response, Send Ghana has partnered with the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics to advocate for the introduction of mandatory front of packed food warning labels. As part of the campaign, the country director of St. Ghana, Harriet Nuyama, urged government to take concrete steps towards implementing relevant policies to protect public health.
We should mount an advocacy to draw people's attention to the need for knowing what we are buying and eating. And to be able to do that, we needed to turn our attention to how foods that are processed are labeled so that we are well informed to make choices. When we pick items from the shelf, are we able to read? Do we understand what we are reading? Is it giving us enough information to be able to make a choice? And most importantly, to ask our government to put in place policies if we do not have one already, so that will guide implementing agencies, to ensure compliance, and for those who are involved in the food sector, at least to have something to guide them, which includes manufacturers and importers.
Well, also speaking at the launch of the advocacy campaign, Professor Analate, a nutrition expert at the University of Ghana, highlighted the importance of clear and easily recognizable labels, particularly to support individuals who cannot read or write, in helping consumers make healthy food choices and protect their well-being.
Certain composition of our foods tend to be a lot of energy dense, nutrient poor. Sometimes we are taking a lot of sugar, a lot of salt, and a lot of saturated fats in our foods. And studies have shown that these are actually not healthy. There are components in foods that we have to be careful when we are eating foods that are high in these nutrients. So that's why we are concerned. And if you look at what is happening, a lot of our food environment is filled with processed foods. The kind of markets we have, the small shops, the kiosk, when you go in there, a lot of it is processed foods. And so one of the things that can be done to help people to look at the way they are eating, to ensure that they are eating very well, is what is called the front of package labeling. So if you are going to buy a packaged food, look at the label. But currently, the kind of labels we have, we don't understand them. You have a lot of writing. So if somebody is illiterate, they will not understand. Some countries have changed their labeling processes, and they are actually using what we call codes or figures. So you see a certain figure on a package, and you know that this food has too much salt, don't take it. You don't need to be literate to be able to choose healthy diets.
Right, so let's understand what really this is about, because this could be life-threatening. And joining me in the studio is Joseph Dankwa, Senior Dietitian at the Southern District Hospital, Sogakope, who also doubles as the General Secretary of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You're welcome, Joseph.
Thank you.
So, clearly, what kind of food are we talking about?
So we are talking about all processed foods. So in recent times, we have seen the increasing trend of non-communicable diseases, especially among the younger population. Non-communicable diseases such as the hypertension, the cancers, the kidney diseases, the diabetes is very high among the Ghanaian population now. And through research, we have recognized that certain nutrients have been implicated to be the cause of the rising cost of these diseases.
There's a link, actually.
Yes, there's a very strong link. So the nutrients of concern, as we are advocating, are salt, sugar, and unhealthy fats.
So, I mean, first, for somebody watching may not understand what processed food is. When we say processed food, what exactly are we talking about? So what kind of the category of food that falls under processed food?
You can think of all foods that are not in their original or raw states that have been processed in some form in order for it to stay longer or have a longer.
Like for example, corned beef in cans,
milk.
So all food in cans qualify as processed foods.
Yes, that's correct.
But not all of them are in danger of consuming.
Well, like I said, the nutrients of concern, once you have nutrients of concern exceeding the threshold as recommended by WHO, then that becomes a problem.
So the link between that and NCDs, and if you can give us a little education on that.
All right, so when you consider sodium chloride, which is the common salt, okay, WHO has a threshold for all nutrients. And once a particular food item exceeds this threshold, we consider that as unhealthy. And it's the reason why we are advocating for this front of pack, because most of our food labels do not clearly state the amount of these nutrients of concern in the food products. And it is more concerning because during the day, one individual may consume different processed foods from different brands. And all of these together go a very long way to add on to what the person is consuming in a day.
So, for example, today is Friday. I'm sure people will leave their offices, or tomorrow, Saturday, they want to do shopping for the week. Most of them will go to the shopping malls, visit some of these supermarkets, and they'll just be picking as it attracts them. And you say that they should look out for certain things on the label to be sure that they are buying the right thing.
Right. So the front of pack, it's a warning label, and it's going to be very bold and very clear. So all we are saying is that if a particular product has these nutrients of concern, which is the sugar, the salt, and unhealthy fats above the threshold, the government should be able to compel these industries to put boldly on the label that this product has high sugar, this product has high salt, this product has high fat, so that it becomes the consumer's choice to choose whether or not they would like to.
But currently, as we speak, that is not being done.
We do not have that in Ghana at the moment.
We do not have that in Ghana at the moment. So every processed food that is coming in, but they have to meet a certain, conditions by the FDA before they are licensed to be sold in Ghana.
Right. So the current label we have, it's just a matter of the industry stating the ingredients in there. Okay, it doesn't have a direct link to the health of the individuals that are consuming it.
And it's also even possible that what they label on the product
may not be the actual.
Exactly, it may be different, maybe entirely different matter.
Right.
And so this campaign really is to push who to act on this front of pack food warning.
Well, we have been working very closely with relevant stakeholders like the Ministry of Health, like the FDA, like the NCDA, and all of us are collectively pushing for the policy to be enacted as soon as possible.
And how far have you gone in getting them to?
Yes, we have been able to get the policy to the Ministry of Health, and it's being reviewed, and very soon will be presented to the Parliament.
So when successful, if I should go and buy a can of corned beef, I should see what is clearly written on it beyond what the product manufacturer may have put under or around it.
Yes, it's going to be an additional information that is going to be boldly written on it.
Okay. So tell us about, we know non-communicable diseases, food that are high in salt, and then it brings about hypertension and all those issues. The ones with sugar, then we're talking about diabetes and the rest. And we know that it's become one of the most reported cases in our hospitals. So we are eating a lot of food that are rather killing us. Is that the case?
That's the case. In recent times, we have seen that the Ghana food environment has shifted from our traditional foods to more processed foods. And you can also see that a lot of these fast food joints have sprung up over time. And when the food environment is like this, we say that it is obesogenic because it promotes the overweight and obesity, which is currently a big problem we have as a public health concern.
But I don't think it has to do with only processed foods. People have chop bars and restaurants. They now determine how much of salt they should put in the soup.
Well, that's
knowing very well that they are serving all manner of people.
Yes, that's very true. But You see, these chop bars and other food joints who do not directly sell processed foods use these processed foods as ingredients to what they prepare. So directly or indirectly, we may be consuming it.
Mr. Namka, so beyond getting the Ministry of Health and the other relevant bodies to buy into this campaign, what more is your organization doing in terms of sending the message to the Ghanaian public?
So Send Ghana and the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, GAND as a professional body that has the authority on nutrition and food issues in Ghana. We are committed to promoting public health. Every issue that has to do or concern with the health of the ordinary Ghanaian, that is what we are looking at pushing. And we are asking everyone to add their voices, because right now, especially in our emergency rooms in the hospitals, you do not see a lot of accidents. You see a lot of complications of these non-communicable diseases than you see road traffic accidents.
And so, you think there's general ignorance around this matter?
Yes, and we are doing our best to promote the education in our public universities especially. We just completed an all-round symposium with the 5 main public universities, and we are looking at taking this to the communities around our country.
Somebody is asking, what would be your advice to people who work from, let's say, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., and I'm one of those. Sometimes my first meal will be after 5 p.m. What would be your advice to such people?
Your first meal is after 5 p.m.
Sometimes.
I mean, if you are working from morning, and you don't eat until 5 p.m., that is a problem, and you really need lifestyle change. I don't believe that if your vehicle fuel is low, you are going to get it onto the road and drive several miles, because you know that it is definitely going to break down. And if you continue on this path, definitely you are going to break down and suffer one consequence or the other.
And so your advice would be what?
So my recommendation is that once you wake up in the morning, breakfast is very, very important. Once you eat breakfast, it sets your dietary day right. If you don't get to eat breakfast on time, let's say you eat around 11 a.m., it means the regular lunch time, you may not be hungry. You are likely to eat again around 3 or 4 p.m. And if you don't sleep early, if you are someone who do not sleep early, you are likely to eat late at night. And these are the contributing risk factors to these.
Some people recommend intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes, people recommend intermittent fasting, but it is not sustainable. Intermittent fasting is not sustainable. And the recent research produced by the British Dietetic Association proved that there is not really a significant difference between persons who consume meals according to the intermittent fasting pattern and those who eat healthier meals according to portions recommended, as in they eat breakfast, lunch, and supper. There is no significant difference. So why would you want to starve yourself and then eat only at certain times, something you know you struggle to do?
Right. So must we necessarily cut out sugar and salt from our diets?
No, the idea is not to cut it out totally. All we are saying is that we should be able to consume these within the moderation that supports our health and well-being.
Okay, all right. And then finally, before I let you go, I mean, should we, just like people have doctors, they have dentists, they go to on a regular basis for health checkup, they have lawyers they speak to on legal matters, must we have dietitians in our life to advise us on the kind of food we should eat?
It is very important, because a lot of people are doing curative health. And apart from the fact that it is very expensive, an individual also suffers a lot of pain when you are plagued with these diseases. So if there is a way to prevent these diseases through healthy diets, I believe that will be the way to go. Thankfully today, most of our health centers and district hospitals and teaching hospitals have nutritionists and dietitians. It would be very important for everyone to pass through these facilities to have a conversation with with a nutrition or dietetic professional.
All right. Mr. Damka, thank you so much for coming through. This is a very important matter. Maybe next week we will have to bring you back and then we can talk about, for example, what kind of food should I eat in the morning? What kind of food is good for the afternoon? What kind of food should I eat before I go to bed? I have a friend who in fact, he sent me a text message. He says that now in the last 5 years, what he's realized is that anytime he eats after 6-7 p.m., sometimes when he wake up in the morning, whilst brushing his teeth, then he starts vomiting. And he vomits most of the food we have eaten much more hours before the morning. And it's giving him sleepless nights. Sometimes he's afraid of eating because it's like you eat today, in 8 hours' time, you vomit everything. And so he doesn't even know what kind of food to eat and at what time. Maybe next week we can have that discussion. But I'd like to appreciate your coming.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Bachidamkwa is with this organization. They are campaigning vigorously for this particular matter. And because it's Friday and we're watching and you have a weekend ahead of you, you need some of these advices to get your life and your family life going. Now, the Bonny Regional Minister, Joseph Adai Akwabua, has underscored the importance of empowering community health nurses to achieve universal health coverage. Now, speaking at the National Delegates Conference of the Community Health Nurses in Sunyani, Mr. Akwabua assured of government commitment to address their concerns, including professional development and fair remuneration through reforms in the Reset Ghana agenda. There's more in this report.
Members of the Community Health Nurses Association are noted as the backbone of Ghana's primary healthcare service delivery, as their services are often at the doorsteps of people in rural and underserved communities. At a 2-day delegates conference at Sunyani Esufufu in the Bono region, the outgoing president of the association, Esther Frimpoma Bamfo, stressed the risk they take to make health service delivery available, accessible and affordable in all hinterlands with or without logistics. Yet the least is said about them. She called on the government to offer them incentives and honor promises.
The 20% of whatever the government should stick to his promise and provide it. Again, provide them decent accommodation to live in and work. Again, they should provide them with incentives. Incentive not only about money, but encourage them. Some of the leaders that we are working, the stakeholders, sometimes the kind of words that will come from my mouth to the community of nurses. And lastly, government should recognize community of nurses and give them scholarships so that they can also continue to further their education.
Regional Deputy Director of Public Health, Dr. Prince Kwashi, acknowledged the impact of community health nurses in achieving universal health coverage and the need to promote their welfare.
Suppose we, as a service, strengthen the role of community health nurses, Ghana can achieve UAC goals. To our community health nurses, your resilience inspires us. We urge communities, traditional and opinion leaders, and policymakers to join hands to safeguard your welfare in the communities you work in. I urge you to report challenges, demand accountability, and champion your rights.
Bono Regional Minister Joseph Adai Akwabua assured of the government's commitment to empowering and addressing their concerns as part of the reset agenda.
Issues of professional development, fair remuneration, logistics, and safe working environments are crucial. It is important to note that achieving universal health coverage is not a dream. It is a goal that is within reach if we empower our health workforce. And empowering our health workforce means supporting our community health nurses, varying their contributions, and providing them with the required resources and recognition they deserve. Let us remain patient with the government.
Francis Botri was elected the association's president for 4 years at the conference themed Welfare and Contribution of the Community Health Nurse in the Chips in Achieving Quality Universal Health Coverage. Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
President John Mahama has assured the people of the Upper West region that major roads in the area will be fixed. Now, speaking during his thank you tour, he emphasized that improving the roads will not only boost economic activities, but also enhance access to quality healthcare. Our correspondent, Rafik Salam, has more.
President John Dramani Mahama first had a closed-door private meeting with the overlord of the Wala Traditional Council, now Hussein Sidi Pulipo IV, before interacting with paramount, divisional, and sub-chiefs and Pogonemini from the traditional area. President Mahama then rolled out of the One House Palace, headed to the Nasiri Bomb II Park to thank the chiefs and people of the region for the groundswell of support given to the party, which enabled him to win not only the presidency but overwhelming victory for 188 members. That included 4 independent parliamentarians, which gave the party more than 2/3 majority. Vice President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Paramount Chief of Zini, Kuro Abu Dieka Sonkebenania V, laid bare the biggest challenges in the region, particularly focusing on major roads in the region.
Sablihen Tumu Road, Isa Kojuperi Wahabu Tumu Road, Wa Dorimon Wichau Road, Wa Sola Bamboy Tachima Road, Jirapa Donwini Ko Nandom Road, Wa Bulinge Road, Hamle Fialmoa Tumu Road. Let me also add that the Simon Dundion Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies and Dr. Hilaire Leman Technical University equally need special attention for infrastructural development to increase student intake.
President Mahama, in his response, assured the people of advanced plans to fix the roads.
During the campaign, we traveled on the terrible road network that has become characteristic of the Upper West region. In this region, under the big push, we are prioritizing the Wa Tumu Bolgatanga Trunk Road and the Techiman Wenchi Bole Wa Hamile Corridor. Sections of the Sola Fufuso Road will also be resurfaced to improve connectivity between the Upper West and the Savannah and Northern regions. These roads will not only enhance trade and transport, but they will also stimulate cross-border business and revive economic activity. Equally, we'll upgrade roads in the Wa East, Nadoli, Dafema Buse, Isa, and Sisala East districts to improve access to markets, schools, and health facilities.
He disclosed that contractors working on the projects will not have any difficulty regarding payments of certificates for work done.
Work will begin very soon. In a few months, you see contractors on all these roads because the money has been provided in the budget. This year we set aside 14 billion Ghana cedis for the big push. And the finance minister has assured me that all the contractors will get 15% mobilization to be able to mobilize to site. And he has also assured me that any contractor on the big push projects who presents his certificate for payment will be paid within 2 weeks of presentation of the certificate.
Turning to infrastructure projects in tertiary institutions, particularly the Simon Diodon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, John Mahama has this to say.
We'll continue projects in the University of Development Studies and other tertiary institutions in this region to improve learning outcomes. And I remember that Professor Tamils of blessed memory started a library complex and a multi-complex lecture hall in UDS, which was abandoned after NDC left office. We're going to continue and complete it. And the hostel block that Professor Mills started that has been abandoned, we'll continue it and complete it so that our students in UDS can have a place to stay.
And of course, Rafik Salam Fada report. Now, President Mahama is currently in the Greater Accra region. He is continuing with Thank You Tour and is currently meeting with the chiefs and people at Dodo. Now, some of the things that have come up, he says cabinets will soon meet on the decentralization of the sanitation budget and make every district responsible for its own sanitation. He says cleanliness will become one of the key performance indicators for measuring the performance of the MMDCs and will determine whether they remain in office or be removed by President Mahama. And then a matter that is of interest to a lot of people, he gave an update on the status of the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is currently out of the country on a medical leave. According to President Mahama, she is set to return to Ghana before the end of next week to resume her official duties. The latest from that corridor is that according to President Mahama, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, is set to return to Ghana before the end of next week to resume her official duties. And this is coming from President John Mahama. Let's talk about our mothers. They silent pray and gather strength for each day. Now, Hensima in Ndonko is one of such. She's endured pain and embraced joy through marriage, parenting, and in her career. Now, in today's series of Celebrating Motherhood, Hanodame shares the story of the divorced mother of three, whose life and that of her children were spared through dream.
After a painful separation from her husband, Hensima Ndonko found herself in a difficult situation. With 3 young boys to cater for, she knew she had to take action to avoid a disruption in the development and growth of her children.
I sell shirts and I do piano tuition for beginners.
Seeing the yields of her hard work through the success of her children, especially at school, Madame Hensima took on more tasks as the bills increased, learning to braid hair to add extra notes in her purse. For her, each braid was a new opportunity, just like each day. The vigor in providing for the family takes her out of the home at dawn and brings her back after dusk. The strain on her once made her to think of ending it all through suicide.
I wanted to kill myself. What I was going through and that moment, I said, why? What is happening? What have I done? So as I was thinking about it, how I should do it, and I didn't also want to leave my boys behind. I didn't want to leave them for anybody. So I wanted to take my life and take theirs too. And if I take it first, they can't go. So I have to give them medicine. And then when I finish, then I'll also take mine. So I was just planning. The moment I slept, I dreamt. I dreamt that I had given medicine to them, the boys, my boys too. I've given medicine to them, and when they were dying, they were struggling. So I said, wow, this is what they are going to go through. No, I can't do that. Then I heard a voice in the dream that I have plans for your life. I'm going to use you to bless many nations. What you are going through, you have to go through. So just keep quiet. I am with you. Don't. The moment that voice, and then I was awake. I sighed. So boy, you are with me, and so but I can say by grace I am alive. And what God said to me when the time I wanted to take my life, I see that it is happening. So I see that I am not there yet, but gradually God is doing what He has promised. And I believe in Him. I trust in Him that we will surely get there.
Today, Hensima is a beacon of hope, reminding others that even in the darkest moments, there is always a way forward. Her children, who are so proud of her, captures it best.
She cares for us. She does a lot of different jobs, different things just to cater for us.
I love my mother very much because she's a kind and gentle woman. She does her best to provide for us, and we love her very much. She shouldn't worry, and we will make her proud. Thank you, Mommy. We love you very much.
My mommy is a God-fearing woman. She always teaches us how to read the scriptures and pray, and I appreciate what she has done for me.
For Madame Hensima, every day is a new challenge. She also has her own dream, one she holds dearly, but wants to ensure her children fulfill theirs first.
I want to become a superstar, a gospel superstar. That's what I want to become.
Madame Hensema wants other women navigating life's challenges to remember they are not alone.
Never ever dream of killing yourself. God has a plan for your life. God has a lot for you. You will die before you realize, this is what God has for me. Never ever dream of killing yourself. Just do something, do something. Just don't sit down, that one, don't sit idle. Do something, find something for yourself and do. Take good care of yourself, take good care of your children. Don't curse your son, don't curse your daughter, don't curse, never. And words are spirit, words are powerful, words are life. Never do that to your child. Just when you wake up, bless your children, and God will come in at the right time. God will supply all your needs. God bless you.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
And of course, the pause, as always, is brought to you by Defend Drill Cough Expectorant. And what it does, it clears chest congestion, smoothing cough, and fight the common cold, helping you breathe easy and feel better this weekend. Go for it if you are in any kind of difficulty with breathing. Defend Drill is available at all pharmacies and OTC across Ghana. Not recommended, however, for children under 6 years. For bulk purchase, please visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals. They are on the Sprinters Road. They are next to Warehouse Chapel, or contact them on 053-661-432. That's 053-666-1432. Defend Drill, breathe easy, feel better, and that's what we'll do this weekend. For more stories, go to our website, myjoyonline.com, and we've got very interesting stories for you. University of Ghana overstated its employees' compensations by 59.2 million Ghana cedis between 2022 and 2024. That's according to the Auditor General. And of course, Parliament is currently meeting, Parliament Committee on Energy is meeting the ECG on the Mason container. We've got details for you in subsequent bulletins. Folks, whatever you are up to in the hours ahead and this weekend, I hope it's profitable. LTS is coming your way after I'm done. My name is Elton Roby. Have a good weekend. Take care. We'll be here on Monday.